Hello, welcome to Family Therapy Podcast with George Chacha. I am in this continuous series of forbidden subjects or forbidden topics. In this particular episode, like I indicated in the previous episode, I will be talking about 8 ways to help your masturbating partner overcome this challenge. And dear viewer, I just want to remind you that masturbation is as old as the existence of mankind. What is different now is that people discuss it at various platforms. But masturbation is mentioned in the Bible long even before the time of Abraham. For instance, we hear the Bible when the Israelites were on their way from Egypt heading to the promised land, and they were told that whoever masturbates shall be unclean and therefore shall not go to the presence of God. And therefore masturbation was there, meaning that people were masturbating at the time. And remember, as much as the subject is forbidden, it is not until we start demystifying this subject, unpacking it, trying to bring it to a clearer form, that maybe we will really scale, or rather slay the dragon, the Leviathan that masturbation is. Even in the Bible, Jesus Christ himself talked about masturbation. He talks about this kind of unnatural sexual behavior, where he said, whoever looks at a woman lustfully and even just conceives having an affair with her, he has already sinned with that woman. Meaning that these things were there. And therefore, even the idea of conceiving a thought of masturbation, conceiving a thought of having a sexual affair with whether a member of opposite sex or same sex, it is equally sinful. It is sinful, it is immoral to the moralists. And therefore, these are the kind of things that we will be sharing. And no one should feel ashamed or stigmatized by this issue, because again, statistics show that millions of people do engage in masturbation, as wrong as it is, as undesirable as it is, and people engage in this. And therefore, it's not until we start really unpacking this vice, until we start unpacking this abnormal, unusual behavior, then, only then, can we really start winning against this dragon. Now, before I really come to those 8 points, I would like to remind the wife, and especially now this particular part, the partner, in the sense that you have to recognize and come to terms that your husband has a psychological problem, and he needs a lot of compassion and a lot of support. He needs a lot of understanding because he has a psychological problem. The other thing is that you also need to come to terms that your husband is struggling. He is really having a very big inner battle with himself. He is struggling to, he is waging a war against himself. A battle that unfortunately he thinks that he can win by himself. How I wish that all men battling with this unnatural behavior recognized and appreciated the role and moral support that they can draw from their partners, from their wives. And therefore, recognize that. It is also important to recognize and come to terms that your husband has found himself in a situation, in a point of his life that he hates very much. Unfortunately, he just doesn't know how to get out of it. And therefore, that is where now your significance, your importance comes around. He is going through battles. He's struggling. He's doing these things secretly. He is wishing that you don't ever get to know. He's wishing that his children don't ever get to know. He's wishing that nobody ever gets to know. He's doing them in private, in secret. And every time he does it, he's full of shame, guilt, and he feels inadequate. And that's the reason why I'm saying that there is a need for you to understand and come to terms that indeed your husband is battling with something bigger than himself. So how do you help him battle with this, or rather, how do you actually fight alongside him? Okay, how do you stand next to him? And the following are 8 points that I have identified. Possibly there could be more, but again, remember, this is from my perspective. And again, I have also received numerous calls. There are people who keep calling me, sending me messages. Thank you so much. It builds my content. It actually helps me come up with this advice, because it is not my making. I have drawn it from quite a wide spectrum of people. And point number one is, you need to reassure your husband that all shall be well. It shall be well, my husband. It shall be well. And no matter what he's going through, no matter the challenges, there are those moments that a man has just mounted and is just preparing to go through the narrow gate, and all of a sudden, everything goes limp, everything goes dead. And that is the most frustrating moment, and it can be very frustrating to the partner. But that is the moment when you as a woman need to say, it shall be well, my husband. Compassion. Compassion. You need to be very compassionate. The other second point is, you need to spend as much time with your husband as possible. Spend with him as much time as possible. Go out. It could be a Sunday afternoon. Maybe you're going for maybe an evening stroll, just sitting and lazing around. Maybe just holding hands and talking sweetly to each other, reminding yourselves of the good old days, maybe during your school days, and just talk about a lot of nothing, sweet nothings. And therefore, spending as much time with him, spending as much time as possible with him is very important, because then you distract him from the thought of going back to pornography, maybe even going to masturbation. Therefore, spend a lot of time with him. Dear viewer, it is your comment, it is your text message, it is your phone call that keeps me on this table. It is that communication from you that gives me the reason to produce another episode. For those who call me, even telling me to talk about a given subject, because to me, there is no forbidden topic. I will talk about every topic. Thank you so much. And I encourage you, and I'm requesting you really to subscribe to this channel, click the bell, click the like, and be sure to watch episodes that will be following, because I will be more concentrated and focused on those issues that affect family relations and even the family well-being. Point number 3, in the event of a health condition, there are those situations whereby you as a wife, you have a health condition. It could be a back problem, it could be a leg problem, it could be maybe a medical condition, and maybe you have even reached that point whereby any thought of penetration really kind of gives you nightmare. I think it's important for you to share with him and just tell him bluntly that George, I'm sorry that this is the situation on the ground, and then try to explore what is the best way. What compromises can you make under the circumstances, because the circumstances have changed. And remember, in my previous episode, I said that while women can go even up to 2 years, maybe without necessarily burning out, a man is very difficult for him to go beyond. Not that it's difficult, but they go, yes, they may also go up to 2 years, but with a lot of battle, with a lot of losing battles in many cases. And therefore, it's important, if the woman is going through some health or maybe physical challenges, to really share with the husband the reason why she is not giving. Because again, remember, if you are not readily accessible, if you are not readily available for him, then it gives him a window for masturbation. It gives him a reason to masturbate, to seek the alternative stress reliever, to seek the alternative kind of a sleeping pill. And therefore, it's important for you to very amicably share, candidly share the challenge, the difficulty that you're going through, just to help him and maybe come to that point of equilibrium or compromise. Point number 3 is that of spiritual therapy. My good friend, lady and gentleman, it might be very important. Both of you may be people who are not very churchly, if I may say so. Both of you may be people who really don't have a very strong place for the church, for spirituality, but under this kind of circumstances, spirituality may play a very, very big role. That is the time when the man should consider embracing salvation. To many, I know salvation looks like foolishness. Maybe it looks like a concept for the poor, a concept for the frustrated, for the downtrodden. But I want to tell you that spirituality and the Bible in this case, praying and just meditating upon the living word of God can be so therapeutic that it could be the ultimate remedy. It could be the ultimate antidote to this vice, to this problem, to this condition, and therefore consider actually becoming godly. In those instances that you will find him having faltered, don't condemn him. Embrace him instead. Just embrace him, kiss him, and tell him, my husband, it shall be well. It shall be well. All he needs is reassurance. Embrace him. Embrace him. The 6th point is for both of you to consider visiting or seeking professional advice. They will come to that point where maybe you feel like maybe the situation at hand needs some kind of professional advice. The goodness is that sometimes visiting a professional a counselor, he could also maybe recommend certain type of medication, basically to kind of help in terms of emotional balance in the body, and therefore combining both therapy and medication becomes just a good direction. Both of you need to candidly talk against pornography and masturbation. Be free to discuss about this topic and just discourage each other and talk about the demerits, talk about the harm it's causing, and talk about how you can come out of it. And in the process, then you find that it becomes helpful, because then again, you will not be pushing the issue under the rug. And lastly, engage in physical exercise, jogging, maybe in the evening or in the morning, at whatever time it's convenient for you, and maybe doing some exercise. It could be indoors, it could be outdoors. I mean, this thing distracts or keeps even the body tired to the extent that once he is tired, he really doesn't have another level of energy to spend in masturbation or to spend in bad thoughts. We have to realize that masturbation has got very bad negative side effects, and there is that aspect of feeling ashamed. You feel like you are dirty. I remember one of the callers telling me, who is actually a good churchgoer, telling me, it makes me feel very sinful. It makes me feel unworthy when I'm going before the presence of God. Indeed, it makes one feel that. There is also that aspect of hopelessness. It makes you feel like a loser. What are you hoping for? The pleasure of life is way out of your reach. There is also that aspect of feeling like a social misfit. You feel like maybe you're not fitting there. Anytime you are in the middle of a group of people, you feel like maybe they know what I did. Maybe they are aware of what I do. You feel like you don't measure to their level, and therefore it just kind of also diminishes your self-esteem in the process. As a result of not wanting to mingle and mix with the people, then it kind of diminishes your self-esteem. The worst part of it, again, is that it may make you very weird, where you might tend now to establish a permanent relationship with the Samanthas. You feel like having a relationship with a human being is not for you. That your satisfaction is derived by having a relationship, an intimate relationship with a Samantha, a doll, a plastic, or whatever it's made up of. Otherwise, thank you so much for accompanying me in this episode of how do you help your partner come out of this undesirable behavior. Remember, that aspect of holier than thou should never exist in this level. This is an endemic human problem that is sweeping across the globe, across the ages, across the races.